Hey, good evening, Southeast Texas. Hope you're doing well on this Friday night. We have a very special broadcast as far as updating you on the tropics, particularly Tropical Storm Beta as far as our thinking. We'll be taking your questions in just a few minutes if you have any. Otherwise, you know that Beta formed this afternoon. Not a lot of change. Most of the convection may be displaced to the north and east of it. It is moving to the north and northeast at 9 miles an hour. And winds are at 40 miles an hour. There are no watches or warnings as of this moment, but that will likely change as we head towards maybe tomorrow afternoon. So the storm is expected to turn towards the west, strengthen into a Cat 1, and then turn to the north. So this is kind of a sinuous forecast track, and there are reasons that this is happening. I'm going to back out and do a little drawing because I like to draw. We are watching the potential. Let me start this a little bit over, and what we're going to be watching is the upper level pattern. What we're going to be seeing is high pressure is going to develop to the north of this system. Let me see if I can get that text on there, and I'll show you what is going on. We want an H for high pressure, and that high is going to be the main driver for the short-term forecast on this, and that will drive it on off towards the west. So that's why it's going to be doing that. So we're going to expect high pressure to develop basically north of this storm. So that will drive the storm towards the west. Okay? Then, let me erase that. What happens is that the storm will strengthen as it nears the Texas Gulf Coast, a minimal Category 1 hurricane. But have you been outside? Dew points, humidity, it's low. So as the storm gets closer to the coast over here, a lot of that drier air is going to be filtered on into the storm. So that's why the storm is going to weaken. At the same time, we're going to be watching a trough of low pressure move down from the northern plains like this. So that trough of low pressure is going to turn the storm off towards the north and east. That's the only place it can go, unfortunately for us. So that's some of the drivers as far as why this storm has this little snaky, sinuous path, as it is then expected to head off towards the north and northeast. The question now is, okay, so we're here sitting here by Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. and we've got a 65 mile per hour tropical storm the other side of Houston, Galveston. Where's it going to go after that? Well, there's quite a bit of uncertainty. Does this system basically move right over southeast Texas towards the north and east, or does it go more offshore this way? The trajectory will dictate what we see in southeast Texas. If we have a hurricane or tropical storm that stays basically offshore, then we won't see much. We'll get some rain, some breezy weather conditions, and it will be no big deal from what I can tell. Now, if this is a little closer to the coast, say it rides right down the coastline and off towards southwest Louisiana, that's a different story. And if it moves mainly over Jefferson and Orange County, that's a whole different ballgame. The further north that this is, when it recurves to the north and east, the worse our weather will be. So what can we expect? Well, I'm going to now show you two different graphics at the same time. Hopefully you can see the difference. And this shows you the uncertainty that we have to deal with in forecasting weather. So this is, we've moved forward in time, Wednesday at 7 p.m. I'm showing you two of the most prominent models. The European is in red. It shows it further to up the coastline than the GFS, which is in white. So we'll put this into motion, and as you can see, the European is much faster, and it moves it over southeast Texas. That's the worst case scenario. We'd get tropical storm force winds. Probably some gusts to tropical storm force winds, maybe 40, possibly 50 mile per hour wind gusts, and certainly rain. While the GFS is slower and it's offshore, that means not as much rain and certainly less winds across our area. So that's what we're having to contend with. What do? Do you blend them? That's kind of what I've done right now, and as far as our 7-day forecast, you'll see that. The big issue is the heavy rainfall potential. Again, this is going to change until we have that nailed down and we know exactly where that track is. These numbers are going to change. Do I think it's going to be a hurricane when it goes past us? No. Do I think that we're going to see catastrophic rainfall? Probably not. I would say that this system is going to move, and that with that southwest flow, that's going to move this system. Now, if we see 3-4 days of rainfall, we could see 3 to maybe 10 inches of rainfall over the area. I don't expect a stall. I don't expect catastrophic rainfall, as this will pull on off towards the north and east. Now, I'm going to show you both those models again as far as the winds. European first. These are the white numbers. These are the wind gusts. And I have contoured 30-mile-per-hour winds or greater. Okay? So this is 9 a.m. Wednesday. European is much faster, and it takes it on through. Look at those winds, 40, maybe 50 mile per hour into the triangle, 30s and 40s up in the lakes area, and then that moves on out as we head towards, say, Wednesday night. GFS is further south, it's slower, and notice in yellow, see the yellow? These are wind gusts. We see winds gusting 35, maybe 40 miles an hour because the storm is further out in the Gulf of Mexico. So hopefully you can see what maybe you will be looking at as far as if these models are correct. So there's quite a bit of uncertainty as we go. Monday, 67, maybe 80%. I expect breezy weather conditions, but I don't expect torrential rainfall. I expect a good chance of rain. Tuesday, things will start picking up as the storm nears our area. And then Wednesday, possibly into Thursday, that is when we're going to be watching Beta's closest approach, maybe move over our area during this time frame. Still going to have to wait until we get more consistency. We want to see these models say similar things. Right now they're kind of far apart, so that means the uncertainty is high. But sometime probably Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday night, maybe Thursday morning, that's when Beta will make its closest approach. That's the very latest as far as your weather update regarding Tropical Storm Beta. Do we have any questions?
Not just yet.
Okay. So I'll do this again. If you're just joining us, this is the latest on Tropical Storm Beta. It has not changed since earlier this afternoon. Winds are at 40 miles an hour. There's a little bit of shear. It's not in a bad area for continued development and strengthening, and it's moving to the north-northeast at 9 miles an hour. We're expecting a turn off towards the west. There's a track. As you can see, it strengthens and turns to the west as we head on into Sunday, and by Monday morning early, it could be a Cat 1 hurricane as it then nears the coast, still could make a landfall, and then turns towards the right. Now, why is it doing that? I'm going to go over my weather computer so that I can draw and show you the drivers and the steering currents on this system. But again, this is climatology usually favors recurves. A lot of times if we get stuff in the Gulf of Mexico, we usually see it moving on off towards the north and east. That's what we normally start to see as we head on into late September and October. So here's what's happening. We're going to be watching, why is this storm going towards the west? That is because at that time we're going to see high pressure develop north of the storm in through portions of Arkansas. So let me put that on there. That is going to be a high, a weak high, I might add, and that is why the storm is going to basically turn towards the west. Okay, that's why that's happening. Then that high is going to break down as we head on into Monday into Tuesday. At the same time, notice the storm does weaken, and that is because as it gets closer to the coast, there's a lot of dry air over Texas that's going to be what we call entrained or ingested into the storm. So that will help to weaken the storm. That's good. We want to see that. It feels really nice outside right now, and that's why the storm will likely weaken. If you remember with Hurricane Rita, Similar situation. We had Rita coming in to the Gulf of Mexico. You might remember it was a Cat 5, but all around it was strong high pressure. And when the storm moved up into the northwest Gulf of Mexico, it entrained or dragged that drier air in, and that's why the storm basically weakened. Similar situation here. So again, after Monday, why does the storm begin to turn back towards the north and east? Well, we're going to be watching a trough of low pressure in the upper levels move down. Well, that didn't come out exactly like I wanted. I'll just try this. Trough of low pressure, like that. And that is going to force a southwesterly component and will drive the storm towards the north and east. That's because we start getting these fronts in, and that's why they turn off towards the north and east. So the big question is, after, say, Wednesday, what happens? Do we see the storm basically heading off towards the coastline or offshore? Or do we see it come right over southeast Texas? Or does it do more of an easterly track? It's just too early at this point. Suffice to say, if it comes over southeast Texas, we would see wetter weather, heavier rainfall, and gustier winds. If it stays offshore, obviously, there would be less wind and less rainfall in southeast Texas. So now I'm going to show you a side-by-side model comparison. This is between two of the most common models, the GFS and the European. I'll say this, the European has not been, it's a favorite. It usually has the best accuracy, but it has not done well this year. Time and time again, it's my go-to model, and I've been very disappointed in it this year. In fact, the GFS has done a better job. So we'll show you this. We fast-forward it Tuesday night, and they're pretty close. But as we head on in to, say, Wednesday afternoon, they diverge, and the uncertainty increases. European shows it moving right over southeast Texas, which would mean more rainfall, heavier rainfall, and stronger winds. Yet the GFS is slower and further south, keeping it in the Gulf of Mexico, which would be a best outcome for our area. And that would mean less rainfall and less wind. Again, I think the rainfall is going to be the biggest issue out of this, barring any surprises as far as its track and strength as it approaches our area. But 3 to 8, maybe 10 inches of rainfall. Hopefully the heaviest rainfall stays out in the Gulf of Mexico. If the European is correct, then it could drag some of that higher rainfall totals into our area. Now, before you get that look in your eyes, no, I don't expect a Harvey, and no, I don't expect an Imelda. Imelda was a surprise. Harvey, we knew it was coming. For days, we knew that we were going to get 50-plus inches of rainfall. I think the system is not going to stall. I think this is going to continue to move on off towards the north and east, and we will see sunshine by, say, Friday. Again, it's all about where that angle, when it recurves, happens. Will it be over the triangle, or will it be along the coastline and off towards the east? So what I've done here is I'm going to show you the difference in wind speeds. These are wind gusts as far as with Tropical Storm Beta. This is Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. These white numbers are the European model's gusts. We'll take this on in, and as you can see, it shows wind gusts 40 to 50 miles an hour over southeast Texas. Obviously, the stronger winds may be in towards the triangle. But this is quicker. By, say, Wednesday evening, Wednesday night, it's out of here, and we start seeing improving weather. Then the GFS comes in. Notice the yellow wind gusts, and it's showing, mainly along the coastline, 35 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts. So again, it's just too early. We know it's coming. We have a good chance of rain and breezy weather conditions. But again, I don't think we're going to see catastrophic flooding. The reason is that our area needs rainfall. We can handle a good 4 or 5 inches before we start getting into problems. So hopefully we just get that and we get some improvement as far as the area goes. But I think that Monday, moderate rainfall, on again, off again, 70 to 80% coverage. Tuesday, things start picking up, and then Wednesday, 80, 90, 100% coverage, depending upon exactly where that track is. But I think Wednesday into the first half of Thursday, that's the window when we expect beta to make its closest approach to our area or move through the area with improving weather. We could see sunny skies by Friday. Questions?
Yes, we have a couple of questions now. First one, do you expect that this could cause some power outages?
Well, it just depends on the track. It's always possible with winds gusting, 40, 50 miles an hour. It's possible. I don't think it's going to be widespread from what I'm seeing right now. Now, if this storm comes through at 65 miles an hour and it doesn't weaken, yeah, I think we could see a pretty good amount of power outages. But I think it'll be on a weakening trend as it heads off towards the north and east because it's going to be headed towards maybe drier air.
Which does bring us to the second question of what do you think the chances are of it gaining strength?
I don't think that's going to be the case. I think what's going to happen is that we're still going to have some dry air. It's going to be running into dry air and increasing shear as a trough of low pressure off towards our west moves on in. So I think, as you can see, the forecast is showing a weakening trend, and I think that trend will continue as we head on into, say, Wednesday and Thursday. So moderate to low-end tropical storm, I think that's a pretty good bet right now.
That's all for right now.
All right. Well, I hope you got everything you needed as far as rainfall and wind gusts that we're seeing as far as the modeling right now. I'm sure it's going to change. Again, if this track bumps, say it goes further north, and the track is not as far east or as far west, then there's going to be a lot of changes possible with this particular track. So a little higher than normal uncertainty. Hence, the cone of uncertainty is larger because of that uncertainty at this point. All right. Hope you all do wonderful this weekend and enjoy the weather tonight. And tomorrow it should be a gorgeous night. Oh, we got a new question.
One quick one. Mm-hmm. What areas do you think are going to get the most rainfall here?
Well, again,
locally?
that all depends upon the track. We were explaining just a minute ago. When it recurves off to the north and east, and this recurve could happen sooner, then we would be in better shape. If it's later, different story. But on this track, if it goes through the triangle, obviously the triangle would see worse weather. You know, it's all about when it decides to recurve towards the north and east. I'm very confident we're going to see a northeast turn. The question is, does that happen sooner or later? On this track, possibly the triangle, maybe a little further north, or does it go more east and northeast? Just don't know. It's all about the timing of the recurve. The angle of attack or trajectory after it recurves will affect us greatly. Until we see that recurve, all bets are off until we know, and that probably won't know until maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. Hope you have a wonderful Friday night and a terrific Saturday. It's expected to be wonderful tomorrow afternoon. A little bit of high cloudiness, high temperatures in the mid-80s, but by Sunday we'll start seeing showers in the forecast. Stay safe. Download our app. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and as always, there's more weather at 12newsnow.com.